Lesson 1.7, Distance and Midpoint. So in this section, in this lesson, students will be able to find midpoint of a segment, and students will also be able to find distance between 2 points. So if you recall, midpoint is the point in the middle that cuts a segment into 2 equal halves. So this side is equal to that side. So let's try this example. So EF, what's the midpoint of EF? So EF is here. So it is 1, 2, 3. 3 units long. So if I'm going to cut 3 in half, it's going to be 1.5. So if you see, the midpoint is going to be G. It's 1.5 away from F and it's 1.5 away from E. So G is the midpoint, but let's write the point for it. So it is 0 is your X, 1, 2, 2.5. So we're going to try the next one. Oops, sorry. So the next one is the midpoint of AB. So AB is here. So if you see it, it's 1 and 2 up, 1 and 2 up. So this one, it seems like cuts it into half. So the point is 0, 0. And the last one is the midpoint of CD. So again, CD is also 3 away. So half of 3 is 1.5, so it would be over here, which is 0.50. The point here is 0.50. Okay, so now on a number line, you could just add the 2 points and divide it by 2. So I'm just going to go back. And if we see this one, so let's just see this line, CD. So CD, let's just say CD is on the number line. So this is -1. And this, ignoring that it has a Y value, we're going to ignore that. And this is 2. So the way you would find it is -1 plus 2 divided by 2. That is 1 divided by 2, which we got as the X value, 1/2. In the coordinate plane, you have to deal with the X's separately and the Y's separately. So you have to find the average of the X's and the average of the Y. So you'll have 2 separate coordinates. You'll get a coordinate here and a coordinate there. So this is a number line. So number line, we're just going to add them up and divide it by 2. So that will be -4 plus 9 divided by 2. So the midpoint is going to be 5 divided by 2, which is 2.5. Again, you're just adding it up and dividing it by 2. So same thing here. You're given 5 and 9 are the endpoints. You're trying to find the midpoint. So you're going to do 5 plus 9 divided by 2. So that gives me 14 divided by 2, which is 7. Same thing with that. But if you want to check it out, you can draw a number line. So you have 5 and you have 9. 6, 7, 8. This is 2 places over and that's 2 places over. So wouldn't 7 be the middle point? So let's try B, -10 plus -3 divided by 2. So again, that's -13 divided by 2, which is -6.5. So again, the middle is when you add something and divide it by 2. So now we're moving into coordinate geometry. And in this, you don't only have the x's, you also have the y's. So you have to do it separately. So I'm going to do my x here, and I'm going to do my y separately. So my x is 7 and 2. So it's 7 plus 2 divided by 2. And my y is 5 plus negative 4 divided by 2. So what's 7 plus 2? That's going to be 9 divided by 2. And my y is going to be 1 divided by 2. So that is 9 divided by 2 gives me 4.5, and 1/2 gives me 0.5. So I'm just going to check it on the line. Does it make sense? Does it look like a midpoint? So I got 4.5. So there's 3, 4, 4.5, and 0.5. Well, yeah. Like if I drew it out, doesn't it, like, it's always good to like look at the graph and check if it is correct. And yeah, it pretty much seems like it's the midpoint there. So I'm going to move on to the next one. Same thing here. You have 2 points, R and S, and you're trying to find the midpoint. Again, you're trying to find the midpoint, so let's see. So your X and your Y. So over here, it's 5 plus 3 divided by 2. This one is negative 10 plus 6 divided by 2. So 5 plus 3 is 8 divided by 2. Negative 10 plus 6 is negative 4 divided by 2. And I get 4 here and negative 2 there. So let's just see. From negative 10 to negative 2, it's like 8 spaces away. From negative 2 to 6, it's 8 spaces away, right? It seems like it's the middle of negative 10 and 6. And 5 and 3 are both 1 places away from 4. So it does seem that it is the midpoint. It's the same amount of spaces away. So this, when we did right now, you use the endpoints to find it. We had the endpoints and we were trying to find the midpoint. Now we're going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to give you a midpoint and I'm going to give you an endpoint. And you have to find the second endpoint. So let's see this. So the midpoint is negative 2, 1. And one of the endpoint is negative 5, 7. And what you're trying to find is the other endpoint. The way I do this is, all right, I have C, I have my midpoint, and I have my endpoint. I'm given C, it's negative 5, 7. I'm given my midpoint, and I'm trying to find this. I don't have this. The way I do it, I do not do it using the midpoint formula. I use logic to find this out a little bit more. The way I do it is, well, midpoint means it is that many spaces away, and it has to be equally away from both sides, correct? So over here, I'm going from negative 5 to negative 2. How do I get from negative 5 to negative 2? I go from negative 5 to negative 2 by adding 3. So that means to find x, I have to do the same thing. I have to add 3. So if I add 3 to negative 2, so point D, so negative 2 plus 3 gives me positive 1. Then I'm going to do the same with y. So from 7 to 1, how do I get from 7 to 1? I subtracted 6. So over here, I'm going to subtract 6 as well. So what is 1 minus 6? I get negative 5. So the other endpoint is 1, negative 5. And look at this, 1, negative 5 seems right. Let's look at it. It's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over, 6 up, and 3 over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 3 over. Good. So you're going to try this. So I'm going to again do it my way. So again, you have A, you have your midpoint. Wait. So it gives you the midpoint, and then you're trying to find B. So it tells you A is negative 3, negative 5. B is 4, negative 9. And you're trying to, sorry, M is negative 3. Hold on, sorry. M is 4, negative 9. The midpoint is 4, negative 9. And you're trying to find B. X, Y. Alright, so we're going to do this. Same thing. From X to the other X, how much did you do? Well, negative 3 to 4, you add 7. So, well, from 4 to X, you also need to add 7. So 4 plus 7 is going to give you 11. Let's use blue. So same thing over here. We're going to do the Y's. From negative 5 to negative 9, you subtracted 4. So 9 minus 4 9 minus 4 should give you negative 13. And that's your point. Alright, so we're going to stop here for this lesson. In the next lesson, we're going to deal with distance.